We recognize that the audio isn't up to our standards. We hope you enjoy this anyways.
All right. Hey, thanks for joining us for another edition of Triple Play. And please remember to like and subscribe, right?
Yeah, please like and subscribe. We're getting going.
Yep. And don't forget to support those that support us. We want to thank Andy McCallum of Resource One. You can reach out to those guys, 636-458-1798. And their link is on all of our full episodes, along with CS Design, who did our intro, outro, the website, which is live. And if you notice, I got a piece that just came in. So feel free to go out and peruse that. We got signed balls, all sorts of good stuff. And you can reach CS Design at 573-436-3717. And I'm going to let you introduce today's guest.
All right. As you can see, I'd imagine you could recognize his face if you're a baseball player. We got a baseball fan. We got Josh Beckett. I'm just going to go over some things Josh Beckett did as a player, as a pitcher. And I'm also going to mention something you did as a sophomore in high school. Hope you don't mind. I read this and I was shocked that this even could happen. We got the 1999 MLB draft, second overall pick, 2003 World Series, 2007 World Series, 2003 World Series MVP, 2007 American League Championship MVP. So you're looking at a guy who knew where to throw it, when to throw it, and how to throw it.
You didn't even say in there 20-game winner too. He had a 20-game season. I mean, that's rare.
Okay. Well, how does that rank? Baseball. How does that rank up among the accolades that I mentioned? Honestly,
it was pretty cool. It's and at that time it was getting very, very difficult to do. I feel like the Red Sox were kind of adopting this whole thing where they really didn't want us to throw over about 200 innings. Like they wanted us to kind of be 200 to 205 because we were trying to make the playoffs every year. So they wanted you to save the last 35 or 40 innings for that. And so, most of the time, middle of the year, all of us would have a little 10-day sabbatical where we'd miss a couple starts. And, it's tough to win 20 even when you start 35 games. And, they're kind of cutting into that a little bit. And, you're obviously going to have your one clunker every month. You're going to have two that you're decent and two that you better win. And then, the two that, so you got 5 starts a month. You got 2 that you better win. You got 2 that you just kind of feel okay. You better win 1 or maybe 2 of those. And so it's tough. I don't know if we're going to see many more of them at all at the rate we're going right now.
No. Yeah. And honestly, with the trend, the way that things are going, middle relievers, you might see guys that are consistently pitching the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings and end up getting 15 to 20 wins.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah, it's a different game this season. Yeah. Well, and the other thing I want to mention that he did that isn't on here either is he threw a no-hitter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a rare feat too. You don't. There's not a ton of no-hitters anymore. So.
Well, you could probably. I mean, nobody probably knows how your arm was feeling as you were throwing that no-hitter. I did. So the fact that you threw a no-hitter in Philly was unbelievable. That has to be. Aside from the World Series, got to be one of your top memories.
Absolutely, it was like kind of you hate to say it, but I was already looking towards basically being done at the end of that year anyway. I had the neck surgery for thoracic outlet syndrome, came back from it. I wasn't feeling very good at all at that point in time. My hip was messed up. I was looking at another 10-month surgery on that. My arm felt like I had thrown 2,000 innings, and so it was kind of like just the final piece of, and it's kind of crazy because you go all those starts where you feel great when you're young and throw a million miles an hour with a really good curveball, and then AJ Ellis comes to me and says, "Hey, why don't you try and throw more curveballs? I think it'll take some pressure off your body, and maybe you'll do better," because I wasn't doing very well either, and I did it, and then 2 starts later, I throw a no-hitter with diminished stuff, and
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a nice little deal.
That was awesome. Well, so I told you I was going to bring up something you had done your sophomore year. This is a great segue. You threw a no-hitter against the Phillies. When you were a sophomore, is this true that you threw 3 no-hitters as a sophomore? That can't be real.
I don't I don't know.
That's what I read. And if your memory is different, that's fine. But
You know what? My memory's not different or the same. I honestly just don't remember. Like, if I did one way or the other, you know me, I'd be completely honest with you about it.
yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's still quite. I mean, a no hitter, even in major league, but in sophomore 3, that'd be crazy. So
Yeah.
you don't see that in high school. So
All right. Does you want to ask him? Ask him who the guy?
yeah. So we have a guy that we know, and he said that you know his brother fairly well, David Drinker. Now I don't know what the story is behind this guy. I just know that Mark, his brother, said, "Man, you should ask him about David Drinkard." So what do you know
So
about
David
this guy?
Drinker is he's a very famous artist. And you may have to look this up, but I'm pretty sure he was on some federal duck stamps. Like, I mean, he's an outdoor artist. And I'm sure he does some other things. And I commissioned him to do a painting. I guess it was probably 10 years ago, and I think he's passed away since then.
Gotcha.
And so, I mean, is that kind of what y'all are thinking as far as David Drinkard goes, or y'all really just know nothing?
We know nothing. He just said that you were good friends or would know David Drinkard and that he'd done some stuff with you. And I was like, all
I
right.
did know him, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think David Drinkard passed away. Hey, look here. You know what this is? Are we back? Y'all want to know what this is?
Where are your crisp? What you got there?
This is a piece of electrical tape that normally goes right there over my camera.
So you're not being spied on?
I don't know. I don't trust it. Like when I'm sitting here doing something, like maybe I pick my nose or something like that.
You're smart to do that. My wife does that too.
This guy can talk forever. We need to have you on the show more, Josh.
You just need to be part of the triple play. We got the duo. You'll be the triple.
Exactly. We need to have Josh. I mean, he's got a lot of experience.
Oh my god.
So
Well, he's a pro. He's a pro's pro.
he,
All right. We'll
and
okay.
a Texan.
And Texan.
I like Texas.
So speaking of Texans, let's get into the Texas Longhorns. So we got Beckett Big League Longhorns. How quickly after you retired did you start this? Was it before? Is this something you're going to do forever? Was this something that you just what is this?
We kind of started it prior to retirement, but we got in such a bad drought last year, and it got hot. Like we were like one day away from the all-time record, like 59 days over 100 degrees last year. I think 59 is actually the record. I think we were 58, and with no rain. I think we went 14 months. 14 months. I had 4 inches of rain. So with that comes you're feeding them hay. Well, when it doesn't rain, nobody has any hay, so the price of hay goes crazy. So we spent about $40,000 on round bales last year, and we've pretty much sold out of most of them. We still have 8 left. I think 8 of them are for sale still. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if we start getting some rain, maybe we keep a few more. But it's not we have everything separated now. There's only 1 bull left and 7 heifers, and so if we start getting some rain, maybe we start back into it, but probably not.
How much?
It sneaks up on you too fast as far as the money and the no rain thing.
I'm curious, how much does one of those cost? I mean, if you were to sell one today, you said you got to buy love. So if somebody were to buy one, how much would that cost, Josh?
So I think the best thing you can do down here is sell them to these when they're really young. You sell them before they get a lot of horn on them, and then you sell them to the ropers, the team ropers, because they can start roping them immediately. And usually you get about $700 to $850 for them, kind of depending on what you could ship them for, and then get them to a sale and then sell them there. There is, and ours are in a really good class. So I mean, we could take them to these really nice sales and probably get more, but shipping costs with diesel going crazy and all that stuff. I mean, all that stuff comes into account when you run a business like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, so I mean, you got a ranch, you got animals. I'd imagine you do hunting, you do fishing.
I do.
You do fishing.
I do.
Is that a that's on your mind a lot? You think about things you can go hunt, trips you can take. Is that about accurate?
Yeah, I haven't traveled much to hunt. I'm just not into a lot of the other stuff. I'm mainly focused on. Well, I mean, we have kids stuff. I mean, we have a softball game and a t-ball game tonight. I have another t-ball game on Friday, another softball game on Saturday, and a gymnastics meet on Saturday. So like we're busier than more on paper hangers. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, but if I get some free time right now, like I love to bass fish. My wife bought me a bass boat for my 40th birthday, and I get out on it as much as I can. But I just, to me, to go shoot an elk or to get into all these sheep hunts that a lot of my buddies are really into it, and it's just not my thing. You got to be in really good shape to go sheep hunting, so I'm automatically out on that because I'm not going to keep myself in shape now when I hated doing it when I was playing. So yeah, so that's just not my thing. If I'm gonna go on a trip, I'm gonna go to like Hermosillo, Mexico, and shoot a mule deer, which I did a couple years ago. I've been 4 times and shot one deer. It's kind of a tough place to get to, and then there's just not a lot of animals when you get down there, so you got to make sure you go with a really good outfit.
Well, you were recently in Missouri, Big Cedar Lodge.
I was.
Yeah.
Big Cedar Lodge. We had a great time. Oh, that place was amazing. Yeah. It's crazy though. So I take my whole family to dinner, and it cost us $700. And then one day they had this ranger camp, so we put all 3 of our kids in ranger camp, and they all dress like rangers. They got ranger vests. They do ranger things. I guess I don't know exactly what they do while they were there. But my wife and I was there, and it was the exact same price. So I'm wondering if they just have like a standardized pricing, no matter how many people sit down at $700 to eat.
Well,
because I know we ordered more food when we had 5 of us versus 2.
Yeah, that's tricky. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but what a great place it is.
Yeah, that place.
And you should totally give them a plug.
Oh yeah. Well, that place is awesome.
Have you gone? Did you go? Did any fishing around there?
I went out on Table Rock Lake, and I cannot remember the guide's name that we took, but it was 24 degrees, and me and my nephew were the only ones that could make it more than like 45 minutes. Well, my wife and them went out after we were done, and I think they might have lasted 15 minutes. I mean, it was really cold.
Yeah. Well, if you come back up, let us know because I've got a place that I fish at Lake of the Ozarks, and I got a good buddy of mine that lets me fish at Table Rock. So,
oh, nice.
We can definitely hook you up. So,
do you is that solely a Josh thing, or do your kids get involved in hunting? Is that a thing that they enjoy?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Everybody enjoys being at the ranch. Both my oldest daughter has I think shot 3 deer, and my youngest daughter has shot 1 deer. Wyatt's only 4; he'll be 5 this year. I think probably when he's like 6, we'll probably start him out, trying to get him some animals. As far as fishing goes, my oldest daughter is the only one that can go, and because I power fish. I mean, I'm not a. If I'm going, it's all day. We're going hard, and you better bring your own food, or your own water. I mean, I'm out there to fish, and I might sit down and take a couple drinks of water, but I'm not eating anything. It's just I'm out there to fish.
Wow, awesome. All right, bonus question, random question: have you ever square danced?
No, it's for fat women. Have I told you this?
No. What? Maybe you have. I'm gonna pretend like
that's an old school. That's an old school deal in Texas. We don't square dance in Texas. Yeah, it's like somebody told me that years ago. It's like square dance is for fat women because they keep finding nobody to dance with.
That is amazing.
Hey, and I'm fat too. So like, I mean, if I was a woman, I would fit the bill. I should be square dancing.
Nobody's ever called me skinny. Not in the last 20 years.
So I want to know, how did you guys get to become friends? Obviously played with one another, but how did that relationship develop?
Do you want to hear my take first, or Josh? Do you want to take the
lead? No, I want to call bullshit on some of your stuff.
So Josh came over with some other Bostonians, and then I had been called up. And I think early on, I think Josh recognized that I had a background in baseball. I wasn't easily, um, I think Josh knew who he could. He had somebody that he could, have fun with, have some games poke, his way at. Um, I I don't know. I think I really took to Josh. Josh, first of all, I recognize Josh is nobody is successful in baseball if they don't work hard. So him saying he doesn't work out, it doesn't mean he wasn't putting in the work. First of all, so I recognize that very early on watching Josh. He took everything seriously, but I also noticed that he likes to have fun. I love to have fun. That's how I grew up. That's how my dad grew up in baseball. So I think Josh probably recognized that I could have fun, and you know, what do you think?
I think yes, yeah. Well, I knew Scott's dad uh, from an all star game that I went to, where I think he was with Detroit.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I don't know what year it was. And I don't remember where it was at. But me and Andy just kind of got to BSing while we were there, and I mean, had a few beers. I knew I knew the I knew the apple probably didn't fall far from the tree, because that's the way baseball players are. I mean, we tend to act like who taught us how to be around Major League Baseball players. And I grew up in a clubhouse full of. I mean, Mike Lowell was Mike Greg were those guys when I got to Florida. I mean, they were like 26 and 27.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were a young team, so we just pretty much everybody just acted very immature because we were. And but actually, how Scott and I got close was a wine trip, and it was supposed to be couples. Well, my wife was pregnant, and his wife might have been pregnant too, so they didn't go. So we were with a bunch of married couples in Napa Valley, and we were supposed to visit 5 wineries that day.
All right, now he's just telling us his story. So you were the two of you go to this wine place.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be a couples deal, and so it's like 4 couples and then me and Scooter, and we were supposed to go to 5 wineries, I think, that day, and we barely made it through the set because neither one of us were spitting the wine. The first time I'd ever been to Napa Valley. That might have been your first trip to Napa Valley too. I didn't know we were supposed to spit the wine out. So we just drank it. We drank it. And so we barely made it through the second winery, and we were both just, trash drunk. And we were just, maybe I was more trash drunk than him.
There might be some validity to that, but I remember the moment. It was like the meal of the second winery, and Josh and I were sitting next to each other because everybody else got the couples, and Josh and I are just drinking, and I think I was like, oh man, that's a really nice. There's like a big brass thing in the middle of the table, and I was like, man, that's really nice. And I like look in, I was like, that's kind of gross. There's like, this is a nice place. They left like old stuff in here. And somebody was like, no, you got to spit out your wine, and Josh were like, we're supposed to spit out our wine this whole time. They're like, yeah, because if you taste all the wines and like even when you spit out, there's alcohol that gets absorbed over time throughout the whole day. So yeah, by the end of the second one, we were like, okay.
And they didn't feed us. Cheese and crackers.
Cheese and crackers. But
it was not good.
It ended up being a nice night. I mean, we
it was beautiful. Yeah,
it
was like we were on a date. So I felt really close to Scooter after that.
Yeah, and it was romantic. There was a sunset. We were hitting golf balls off the top.
Yep.
It was awesome. That was an incredible trip.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, so
I don't think I've been back to Napa either.
I think right after that, I think they started having all those fires over there. Right. I think maybe like the next 2 or 3 years, they started having all those fires in Napa, and so they started shutting down the tourism, and so I'm surprised they still got wineries up there. I got a question. I'm going to start this thing, and this is breaking news for Josh, but I'm going to let Audrey, when we have guests on, ask a question to our guests.
Okay, cool.
So if you don't mind, this is a question from my wife, Audrey.
Okay.
Um,
This probably has to do with my wife.
well, you're a smart man. Don't let anybody tell you you're not smart, Josh, ever. The question for you is how does it work out being married to a rocket scientist? What are the benefits? What are some pitfalls to being married to someone so
She can
smart?
definitely solve problems that most people can't solve. Not in like real life problems. I'm talking about a problem on a piece of paper.
Mhm.
But that also comes with it. I know we all know these people, and I'm not talking trash about my wife because I think my wife is brilliant. If you give her anything, yeah, I mean, whether it's a pie graph or a spreadsheet, like she's all over it. She's got it done. But there are some things with really smart people figuring out stuff that you don't have to be real smart to figure out. And I know we all know people like that, but sometimes my wife falls into that category. So
Well,
that's the good and the bad.
that's good.
Yeah, it's balanced. I mean, there's it's the whole book smart versus not always common sense stuff. You can. Yeah, that's why they say you need mechanics to design the cars and mechanics to actually put them together and fix them. So it takes two to make a good product.
I think the way she set it, I didn't write her question down. She told me it. The way she set up her question.
You never write anything down.
Yeah, I know. Take notes, right? Take notes. Write that down. I'm a bad note taker.
Weren't you supposed to take his notes when you're in the clubhouse?
Yeah. No,
I was trying to teach him a few things.
No, he did. No, Josh, you are you're good. You taught me how to move around the locker room. As much as I knew how to, there were still some things that I picked up from you for sure.
That's awesome. So, Josh, as your career started moving forward, did you find yourself more mentoring the young guys towards the end of your career, and were any of those young guys standouts to you?
The ones I liked.
So, which
I
ones?
didn't have that's a big thing too. It's like when the game started getting young, like really even when I got to LA, it's like there just wasn't a whole lot of guys that wanted to go have a couple beers or go to the hotel bars. Like everybody kind of did their own thing, and it was like this whole thing changed overnight. And some of it was me getting traded to a new scene and all that deal, and it being in LA versus Boston, who we had all been together in Boston for 6-7 years, and so it just. But yeah, the ones I liked, like Scooter and Jock Peterson, like I don't know, I like both of them. I felt like both of them wanted to learn things that I felt like I could teach them. Maybe not teach them, but like refine for them. I don't know really what that was, but I feel like you're always drawn to people that you feel like either you can help them or they can help you, or you complement one another, or something like that. So those were a couple of the young guys, that I kind of. I'm not going to say took under my wing because I was like the number 4, number 5 starter there, and I honestly think some of the best teams I was on though were the couple of full years that I was there. We just never could get past the dang Cardinals. It was crazy. It's like every year we lose to the Cardinals, and I don't know. I feel like there's something else you do, but like you got Clayton Kershaw pitching twice in a 5-game series and you lose. It's just like it's crazy. Like I don't know how we did it.
Yeah, well, I'd even say it was interesting because you dominated the Cardinals in Boston. So, they won 2 championships still in the World Series against the Cardinals. So, and your core of 3 was amazing. So, for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
well, you had mentioned maybe maybe you didn't take us under your wing. I don't think anybody that hung around you in the locker room ever felt like you were trying to take anybody under their wing. But I think it was more of like an osmosis thing. Like I watched you give interviews after your worst nights, and that was something I watched. Like the way you handled yourself. There's times to be emotional when you're talking to people in the locker room. There's so little things that you didn't even probably realize you're doing, but just the way you went about everything. People, Jock, like all those young guys watched how you handled yourself. So
that comes with a lot of experience of failure.
yeah, Yeah,
You learn how to do.
for sure. Anybody in baseball fails, right?
Rob Bradford in Boston used to tell me, he goes, "Your best interviews are when you did shitty." He said when you deal, he goes, "You're the worst interview ever." And I don't know. I honestly wasn't I wasn't trying to do that. It's just like, when people ask me questions, I'm like, "Hey, the defense played good," or whenever on a day when I did well. So he used to tell me that all the time. He's like, "Shit," he goes, "Your interviews are so much better when you don't pitch good."
Yeah. Well,
He's like, "You're the most." Yeah, it was boring, I guess, when I did pitch good.
Yeah. No, I think you did a good job of, and that was something I learned. I mean, you can make a bad night, and you can make that something into a positive. I mean, the fact that people were interviewing you and you were coming off as, I suck tonight. Like, guys, there's no way around it. I think people appreciated that. People were drawn to you because of that. So I think you taught me how to use that kind of my advantage as far as like optics and how people are seeing you.
All right, so I got two questions for you, Josh. One is, being that there's still guys in the game right now that you played with. Is there anybody that you super like, even though they're probably towards the end of their career, or anybody that's out there that you're like, yeah, they're way overrated? And then number two, what do you think of the changes to the game this year? You got larger bases, the clock, a lot of changes, especially geared towards pitching and the speed of the game. With your experience, what are your thoughts on all that? So,
Well, as far as speeding the game up, they've known what to do for a long time, and they won't do it. And that is to, if it goes over the plate and it's in between the box, it needs to be a strike. Like I said, I'm not saying they need computerized umpires or robots or anything like that, but that speeds the game up. That automatically makes if you're a hitter, you're automatically hunting in that whole area. Not if the catcher sets up on the outside corner to a left-hander and you miss over the middle of the plate, the umpire calls it a ball and it doesn't get rated on that. That's for the timing of it. I don't know why they want to do that. I know they want more offense. So, if it seems like every time that anything like this comes up, they always steer it towards, well, how can we implement this and get this other thing, the other result that we want as well, which is more offense. Like, as far as the shifting goes, I don't think that we should, or I don't think that they should penalize people for being smart. I mean, that is the most asinine thing I've ever fucking heard of in my life. It's like, oh, you hire this guy that's very smart and he makes your whole organization smart because he knows David Ortiz hits 77% of his ground balls in the hole between first and second base, where second baseman plays. So we're going to play a guy there and we're going to get him out, on those 77%. The hitters can make an adjustment. I mean, all you got to do is like 10 bunts down a year for hits. Some of them might even go for doubles. They don't have to be good bunts. You don't have to be a Maury Wills bunter. You just have to be able to bunt. And you do that 10 times, they'll stop that.
Yeah,
they will. I mean, it's simple. And as far as the bigger bases, I think it's stupid. I think it looks stupid. I mean, like, here we are. We've been playing. I mean, I don't know what kind of bases they played with back when Babe Ruth played, but I'm assuming they were probably pretty similar size.
Yeah, I think they were like stuffed. It was like,
yeah, they were stuffed back then. Yeah,
they were stuffed with something. It was like cotton stuffed with something.
Yeah.
Actually, they should go back to that because there's less leg injuries because the base used to be pliable and move.
Yeah, the base is very, very hard now.
Yeah. Well, I said, so the bases, so you're going to have pitchers working faster. You're going to have guys stride lengths different around the bases. I think that whatever amount of time gets taken out of these games because of these new rules are going to be right back in during the regular season with arguments, with injuries, all these things are going to happen over the course of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know. And for them to like throw it on them in spring training, and I think that there's a lot of questions amongst the players right now on, exactly where it's all going to land. And now I hear that I haven't read anything about this, but like I hear they're kind of making some tweaks to the pitch clock one, which is fine. I mean, as long as you know what you have to do, But there's also ways around it, I think, too. Like if you need a new ball or something, think the clock starts over. You think the pitchers are not going to figure that out? So then what? We penalize them for being smart enough to figure that out. Because we've already penalized the organizations for having hiring guys out of Harvard, paying them thousands of dollars to figure out some algorithm on where this guy hits his ground balls versus fly balls. So I don't know. It just seems like a lot.
I think the biggest thing I think is going to be taken away from the game that I think literally no one's mentioned. No, I haven't heard one pundit, not one person talk about, is that you're gonna lose individuality from players. You're not gonna have a Nomar Garcia power anymore. You're not gonna have you're not gonna have these iconic things that players do that show their personality. It's just gonna be get in the box, hit the ball, get on the mound, throw the pitch. Get on the base and steal second. Get on base, throw over one time. It's just gonna be. It's just like the
other thing I don't understand. It's a money thing, right? Like, why not just know that a baseball game takes 3 hours, 3.5 hours? It's like sometimes 4 hours, and that's not always just the player's fault. Because I know when I played for the Red Sox, it did not matter who was pitching. When we played the Yankees, it was a 4 to 5 hour game every time. And a lot of times that was because it was on national television. And when it's on national television, there's 15 seconds more in between innings, but that's more commercial time. That's more money for everybody.
Right.
That's what I don't understand. It's like, and if I go to a baseball game, I don't want it over in 2 hours anyway.
No.
So what? I get to drink 3 beers instead of 5. Yeah, I want 5 beers while I'm sitting at the baseball game.
Right.
I don't want 3 beers.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like it's a money making deal, and so I would think that the more time that you whether it's the fan watching on TV, you got more commercial time. Whether it's the stadium, you're selling more alcoholic beverages or more Cokes or. I know when I was a kid, I didn't care. We were going to an Astros game. I got to go to 2, maybe 3 a year. Hell, I hope they were 8 hours long.
Right. Yeah. I understand there are purists in baseball, like nothing should be changed, and then there's people do whatever it takes. I don't know. Like you said, there's gonna be whatever comes in is gonna go out, and whatever time goes out, like.
It's not going to save what they think it's going to save. People are going to be wise. They're going to figure out the loopholes. There's going to have to be adjustments. I was curious because Josh, obviously being a very experienced pitcher, his perspective might be different than some of the others. So, but they seem to, I think, reflect our thoughts we've kind of had as we've discussed this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, how about when the umpire has to call a ball because the pitcher took too long, so he calls a ball. How long does that take?
Yeah, exactly.
So the pitcher just took too much. Yeah, the pitcher just took too much time. So now we're going to let somebody else take some more time.
Right. Time. That's a strike. Okay.
Yeah.
That's 7 seconds we just took watching you do that little.
But he wasn't in the box. That's exactly. I'm gonna say that every time. Even if the guy was in the box, I'm gonna say he wasn't in the box.
Yeah.
And how about you can't throw over more than 2 times?
Yeah,
somebody asked this question the other day, and it said, "How many stolen bases would Ricky Henderson have gotten back in the '80s when he was stealing 100 a year? If he knew at some point in time you couldn't throw over anymore?" And the answer to that is every one of them.
Every single time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Yeah, literally.
There is no number.
Right.
Yeah, they're expecting. I've been reading a lot of people expecting Trey Turner to steal over 100 bases this year. So.
Which would be cool. I think that's a cool thing that would come into play again. But
let's say he steals more than Ricky Henderson. Yeah. Let's say that he breaks the all-time record for steals in a season. Is that a record?
I don't know. Is he going to have to go in the Hall of Fame in a little category with an asterisk on it?
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
He's doing that because his dad robbed me up.
Couldn't throw over.
My dad was on here a few weeks ago and was Josh was getting my dad riled up about the Hall of Fame and steroids.
Oh, we were having some fun. He was mad and a wet hornet at me, so it was good. It was fun.
Man, hey Josh, awesome to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
That's awesome.
We'll do it again. Y'all just holler at me. Let me know when y'all need me.
I will. I will. Is this a good time for your afternoons?
Yeah, my kids are fixing to come in, I think.
Yeah, I'd imagine
We have-
school.
And if you make your way back up to STL or Missouri at least, give us a shout out. We would love to connect with you and beyond the podcast, go fishing or doing some hunting, man. You're speaking our language right there. So
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are moving to St. Louis from Oklahoma City.
there
It's
you
never been a bigger step up than that.
go.
Josh, would you agree anywhere from Oklahoma City is a step up?
Yep, even Tulsa would have been a big step up.
Tulsa's nice. I like Tulsa.
That's awesome.
You got any final thoughts? Anything you want the fans to know about me or Josh, or you got anything?
Any wisdom you can depart us?
I don't know that I have anything crazy. I just been.
Will you tell us a joke? That was one thing I like.
He did mention that he married way over his head, so that's always some good wisdom.
Yes, I did. I did do that. Tell you a joke, man. I wish you'd have told me this. I don't really have any jokes right now either.
That's all right.
Hey, dude, we're in straight kid mode, man. Like it's like the jokes that we tell are like something that came off of Bluey, you know.
Hey,
Which, if
great
you're
show.
a parent, if you're a parent, it's the one to watch with your kids because it's got some adult humor in it for sure.
Absolutely, and
You don't want to sit around and watch Peppa Pig.
No, and you can use those games. I mean, the games they play in that show are unbelievable with their kids.
That's cool. That's cool. Well,
Appreciate it, Josh.
yeah, man, we super appreciate your time today for being on the podcast, giving us a little bit of your experience in the past. I did ask you. I gotta ask you this: is there any current players that you don't like right now, or like right now from your past? I forgot that was one of my questions before we end up. I was curious about.
Oh yeah, there's always people you like and you don't like,
Okay,
but there's no sense talking about those guys.
they're not a Josh Beckett. They haven't got your resume. So
We'll reserve part 2 for the more controversial. Maybe we'll do some politicking.
oh yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
I could get into some of that.
I don't want anybody on this show to get in trouble. So I want you to know
It's going to be hard not to nowadays.
I know.
Oh yeah, it's all right. That's why we
it's
like
gonna be
the editing.
tough.
We can edit out whatever we need. So, but yeah, we'd love to have you
I
back
like
on.
it.
So,
Yeah. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk.
All right, y'all let me know.
All right, bud.
Thanks, guys.
thanks again for checking in on Triple Play with us, man. We had Josh Beckett, man, one of the greatest pitchers, at least in my lifetime, on the show. Amazing, great time getting to get to know him a little bit. What he's doing right now makes me want to have a Longhorn. So I was waiting for him to tell me not about a small one. I want to buy a big one and eat it.
I was trying to be Josh. If you listen to this, I was trying to be respectful of your time. I had a million questions. I was going to ask what Longhorn steak tastes like compared to a normal.
Yeah.
Get into intricacies of that, but like he's gracious enough. He's told me that he'll be back on again. So I didn't want to get everything
All once,
out of the way at once. So
all right. Well, we'll do that. In the meantime, continue to
like and subscribe.
And with that, we will catch you at our next episode of Triple Play. All right.
You're safe.